Hi, I'm Madam Zuraida Ismail. Welcome to my channel. Don't forget to subscribe. Let's learn computer science. Lecture 7.0 Programming Paradigm. Objectives lesson today are define programming paradigm, explain three types of programming paradigm: procedural, object-oriented paradigm, and logic paradigm. State advantages and disadvantages of programming paradigm. What is the definition of programming paradigm? Programming paradigm is a way of conceptualizing and structuring the tasks a computer performs. What are the tasks computer perform? Computer software, computer games, mobile apps, interactive website, information system, etc. How the programmer write the instruction for computer to perform tasks? Using what programming language? Firstly, they must think of what programming paradigm to be used to write the instruction. There are three types of programming paradigm: procedural paradigm, object-oriented paradigm, and logic paradigm. Let's describe what is procedural paradigm. Procedural paradigm is a way of approach in problem solving based on module and function. Some programming tasks can be the best approach by focusing on the steps required to complete a specific computation. That's why most programmers like to use procedural paradigm to solve these problems. In procedural paradigm, it emphasizes more on linear steps, which computer execute the instruction in sequence. Let's have a look to the problem here. Example, to calculate addition of two numbers entered by user. Computer start the execution, then read the input from user, which is two numbers entered by user. After receive the information, computer will process the two numbers. Then computer will display the result of addition on the screen and stop the execution. A procedural paradigm as shown in this figure is essentially based on the concept of function, procedures, or subroutines, which is the natural abstraction. Data can be passed on to the procedure and returned from procedures. You can see here the main procedure determines the first entry of the program. Here the main procedure. The order of the function definition may or may not have any logical grouping other than being used somewhere in the program. There are several functions or procedures called on to perform certain tasks or specific logic through specific execution sequence. This makes a hierarchy of tasks to be done in sequence. You can see here main, same goes here, main procedure, and then procedure A, B, C. Then also known as function A, function B, function C. When you call A in main procedure, they will go to the procedure A, then read the instruction in sequence, then return back to the main procedure and read the instruction step by step until meet with the instruction asked to call B. Then you will come back to the function B. Inside the function B, have the instruction to ask the computer to go to function C. Then it will go to the procedure C, read instruction step by step. After finish it, it will return back to the procedure B. Then if the instruction B in the procedure B is done, it will return back to the main procedure and do the next instruction until it stop execute. The program source code is compiled and linked with any additional executable portion to make the final executable program. This is why procedural paradigm is defined as a way of approaching problem solving based on module or function. Now I'll explain one more example on procedural paradigm. In procedural language, instructions are used to create self-contained units referred to as procedure. This is based on D.S. Malik books. The purpose of a procedure is to accept data as input and transform the data in some manner so as to produce a specific result as an output. Let's have a look on this task. Computer need to calculate sum of two numbers entered by user. You can see the instruction here written start with the call function get input. Computer will read the instruction line by line inside the function get input, which is receive input number 1 into X and receive input number 2 by user into Y. Then go back, return back to the main procedure. This next instruction, computer need to call function process. Inside the function process, computer will do the addition of X and Y and store it into process and return back to the main procedure, which is the result from the function process will store into Z. Then the next instruction, computer will go back to the function display result, which asks the computer to print the addition of two numbers entered by user to the screen. Then return back to main procedure and stop the execution. This makes a hierarchy of tasks to be done in sequence. Second one, what is object-oriented paradigm? Object-oriented paradigm is defined as a way of approach in problem solving based on object which combine data and behavior into a single unit. Object-oriented paradigm procedure operate on abstract value called object, which can be created and destroyed dynamically. This programming paradigm is based on the idea of communicating between objects to simulate the temporal evolution of a set of real-world phenomena. Data as well as operation are encapsulated in object. First step is to identify component called object. An object combines data and the operation on that data in a single unit. In C++, mechanism that allow you to combine data and the operation on that data in a single unit is called a class. What is a class? A class is a template for creating more objects, while object is an instance of class. You can see in the diagram here. Example, class is a player. In general, we have player. Inside the player contain properties, here properties, and method. Properties that define data and method that act on data. Object can have properties. So after create class, you create more object from the class. Player 1. Object can have properties, method, and event handler also. We have specific data and method on player 1. Then you can create more object, which is player 2. Data name Mario, gender boy, color scheme brown, more specific on that object. Method is the work performed by an object, the function defined in the class, while event handler is how a class responds to an event. Another example of object created from class employee, you can create employee 1 that have name, salary, and then method on that object combined together with data, which is receive salary. Here another example of coding Java which solve a problem using object-oriented paradigm. First, The instruction start with creating a class named car, then define data and state and variable, then define method in general on that data. After you create a class, then you create 3 objects in function main. Create car object 1, you can see the instruction create by class car object 2 by class car object 3 using class car. After that, you create specific attribute and behavior to the object. Car object 1 with size 6, car object color with color blue. Then you create data, set the specific data 4 for car object 2, and method red, car object 3 with data size 8 and color gray. Therefore, you already created 3 objects, which are car object 1, car object 2, and car object 3. Therefore, object-oriented paradigm, you can see here, is a way of approach in problem solving based on objects which combine data and method together in single unit. Features of object-oriented programming: encapsulation is a binding data and methods into single unit and keeping it safely and securely from outside interface. Number 2, inheritance. This is the process by which a class can be derived from a base class with all features of base class and some of its own. This increases code reusability. Number 3, data abstraction. The ability to represent data at a very conceptual level without any details. And the last one, polymorphism. This is the ability to exist in various forms. For example, an operator can be overloaded so as to add 2 integer numbers and 2 floats. In other words, polymorphism allows you to define one interface and have multiple implementations. Example, when we play method sounds for class animal, we can hear 2 different sounds from different animals, such as cat, meow, and goat, neigh. The third one, how you describe logic paradigm. Logic paradigm is defined as a way of approaching problem solving is based on the idea of answering questions through search for solution from a knowledge base. Here is example of coding Prolog to show you logic paradigm. Here we are defining 4 different facts. 2 for father relationship, which state facts such as Dasara is the father of Ram, Ram is the father of love. 2 more mother relationship, which state facts such as Kausalya is the mother of Ram, Sita is the mother of love. And then the rule also define any person X is the grandfather of another person Y. If X is the father of some other person Z, who is either the father or mother of Y. Thus, the query will answer question, hello Prolog, who is the father of Ram? Then Prolog answer, Dasarath. Who is the grandfather of love? Then Prolog answer, Dasarath. Dasarath is the father of whom? Prolog answer, Ram. You can see here in logic paradigm, they start defining facts or axioms here. A set of facts, and then a set of rules result in deduction of other facts, and then the computation is modeled by evaluation. Program execution becomes a systematic search in a set of facts, making use of a set of inference rules. So, prolog logic, a made up of facts and clauses. Logic paradigm is declarative language, which did not state the order to execute operations. Instead, they supply a number of operations that are available along with the conditions under which each is allowed to be executed. The language tracks which operation executes on its own. Prolog will answer yes or no based on facts that store or declare in its program. Some applications of Prolog are intelligent database retrieval, natural language understanding, expert systems, specification language, machine learning, robot planning, automated reasoning, and problem solving. Most of early programming language support procedural paradigm. Example of programming language represent procedural paradigm are assembly language, C, C++, Pascal, Fortran, BASIC, and Python. Example of programming languages can apply object-oriented paradigm are C++, C#, Java, JavaScript, Python, and BASIC. Example of programming language support logic paradigm are Prolog, programming logic, SQL, structured query language, and RPG. Advantages of procedural paradigm. Number 1, easier to learn and implement. Excellent for general purpose programming, needs only less memory and ability to reuse the code in different places in the program. Disadvantages of procedural paradigm: no security for data, difficult to relate with real object, difficult to create a new data types, more focus on the operation on data. Advantages of object-oriented paradigm: more security, reusability using concept inheritance, easily upgraded, develop complex software. Disadvantages of object-oriented paradigm is tricky to design the task, programmers should be well skilled, proper planning required, classes tend to be overly generalized. Advantages of logic paradigm: create for query a set of facts and rules, programmer just need to focus on the logic of a problem, not the how. Disadvantages of logic paradigm: difficult to learn the thought process of logical paradigm, not very popular for application other than database. Here are several examples of source book used in this video. A first book of C++ by Gary J. Bronson, C++ Programming from Problem Analysis to Program Design by D.S. Malek, C++ and Object-Oriented Programming Paradigm by Debasish Jana.